Pleasure is not accidental, especially in the spotlight.
Hello and welcome back. My name is Liza Chima Akoinle, and if you're listening to me for the first time, this is Pleasure, Power, and Platforms. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about being emotionally available at the top. I know it sounds contradictory to a lot of people. So we hear things like it's lonely at the top. We even have songs about loneliness. And we see a lot of people talk about men being lonely at the top and how it's just you in the room. Yes, the higher you go, the higher the altitude, the harder it is for every regular person to breathe in the room. There's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of etiquette, there are a lot of things that will no longer pass through the barricades as you go up. So that's true. The room does become smaller and smaller as you go. However, if you were climbing with community, there is every tendency that you find community at the top. Or you could build community at the top. There is that option. The first thing you want to look at is a question: are you emotionally available? To be emotionally available doesn't mean to be weak. It doesn't mean to be porous, because that's another thing people do. Because they want community, they say everything, they do everything, and then they end up in the news for all the wrong kinds of things. No, that's not what I'm talking about. To be emotionally available means you know how to use the concept of the walls and the gates, like we spoke about in the last episode when we talked about boundaries and barriers. Some people should not pass through your barriers, but some people, having tested your boundaries and having qualified, should be in your space. They should. You shouldn't have to do this alone. There is a chemical in your system called oxytocin. Oxytocin is the bond chemical, like some people call it. For some people, they only know it during orgasm. So you find that you tend to want to have sex when you're tired. The reason you want sex when you're tired is your body needs oxytocin. You need to feel connected. You need to feel wanted. But you can get oxytocin from hugging someone. Isn't that cool? If you hug someone for 10 minutes, you would have oxytocin flood your system. If you achieve a goal, the dopamine that was aiming and saying, go, 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 it cools down a bit. And then you're able to listen to your body. So, considering how many things you do at the top, don't you think you need more oxytocin than the regular person? Don't you think you need some form of connection more than the average person? Now that you can afford to travel on vacation, yes, you can't go as long as the average person can. You can't just pack up your things and travel for 6 months or travel for one whole month. For some of you can only go out for 3 days. Don't you think you need to find a way to connect every other day so that you have your smaller doses consistently, as opposed to needing one big high once a month? With these few points of mine, I hope I have been able to convince you that you need emotions at the top. You need it. Now that you know you need it, how do you get it? First of all, you need to filter who has access to you. You do. You do. Everybody doesn't get access to you because they are your fans. Everybody doesn't get access to you just because they are in the same room with you. Some of the most interesting people you will meet in the same room with you are some of the most toxic people you would ever meet. Yet, in that same space, if you've mastered the art of listening, and I'm not using the word judging, I've heard people say things like, I'm a judge of character. And that's a very heavy thing to say. But you're a good judge of character. It takes a lot to know a person's character. You don't know a person's character by listening to them talk the first time. You don't know my character by watching me on this set. You know my character by living with me in my life, like in my everyday life. You have to be my companion in life to know my character. You can know my habits. You can know the way I move my hands. You can know the way I tend to carry my body. You can know the cadence of my voice. But my character has to be experienced. It has to be lived. And so if you go about with the assumption that you know people, what happens is that you miss the opportunity to hear people. And perhaps that is the same assumption that makes nobody know you, because every other person also assumes that they know you when they first interface with you, instead of listening to you and listening for you and engaging with you. So you have to learn to listen to people. When you are with someone and you feel like something is wrong, you can't pin it, but you can sense it. As a therapist, I would dare to say to you, something is most likely wrong. For every patient I sat with who was a victim of sexual abuse, if there's one thing they all had in common, they all felt there's something about this person. If you feel something is wrong with a person, there's something wrong in the connection, and you listen, and it's not your fear. You can listen if it's your fear. If you put your hand on your chest and you put your hand on your stomach, you can tell where you're feeling it. Is it feeling like a flutter? Is it feeling like a fear? If it's feeling like a fear, you feel like your heart is skipping. It feels like you can count your breath. You can count your breath skipping beats. That's usually fear and anxiety. If it's just the excitement, it feels like butterflies. There are a lot of feelings and a lot of ways they show up for different people. Perhaps I'll do a video on that. But if it's a negative sensation, take a step back. That's not being emotionally wise. That's not being emotionally open and saying, oh, I want to give them a chance to abuse you, a chance to hurt you. Just because you're powerful doesn't mean people can't abuse you. If you're a boss, one of the ways your staff abuse you is by abandoning their responsibilities. If you delegate a responsibility and someone doesn't do it because they know you have the tendency to always pick up their slack, that is an abusive relationship, a professionally abusive relationship. Because the person knows that you will do more than your share of the work. Some of you have colleagues who fit into the category of what I just said. That's not you being unavailable. I don't want them to think I'm hard to connect with. Be hard. Be hard to connect with. Be hard to connect with. You don't put yourself in a harmful position because you want to be nice. Put boundaries, have barriers, learn how to listen to people before you start to open your heart. Now, when you begin to open your heart and you become emotionally available, you want to ask yourself if you're truly available or you're looking for evidence to reiterate the fact that there is no good person available. So when I work with people who have some measure of visibility and spotlight and they tell you they're single, one of the questions I tend to ask after visiting their social media is, how did you go from 5 followers to 200,000 followers and you're still single? Make it make sense to me. 200,000 people who like your work. At least 1% of that number has slipped into your DM. At least the people in your inner circle have tried recommending someone because they know you need someone. And then they say things like, oh, nobody knows me. What are you? That 200,000 people plus the average 30 people in your life. So when I say 30 people, I'm talking about your nuclear family, the friends of your nuclear family, your top 5 friends, and their top 5 friends who you've met at least one person each. So everybody knows at least 30 people in their inner second layer of circle. Yeah, everybody knows about 30 people each. You're telling me that 200,000 people plus 30 people, nobody can decode you. That's not a people problem. You are the problem. You are emotionally unavailable. Signs that you are emotionally unavailable, nobody knows you. And it sounds really, oh, no, I'm a very easygoing person. Okay. Who can you send to go shopping for you? And you will not call them in the shopping mall and be like, hope you don't have to call them. If they go shopping for you, you can go to bed. If nobody can go shopping for you, there's a problem. They don't know you enough. That's number one. Number two, can they matchmake you? I know this is about emotional availability. You may be married. I'm just asking you in the here and now. Can they matchmake you? If they cannot matchmake you, they cannot give you someone and you don't feel like, oh, I have to vet the person, or they don't know the kind of person I want. They don't know you. Number three, can they make a surprise? Can they plan a surprise for you? If they can't plan a surprise you will appreciate, a surprise you will love, a surprise that will blow your mind, they don't know you. Number four, if they don't know when you're sad, they don't know when you're grieving, they don't know when you're hurting, they can't listen to you and tell that she's been crying all day, he's been crying all day. If they can't do that, they don't know you. And that's not their fault. You are unavailable to be known. Now, how do you help people know you? You drop it in bits and in pieces. Because I say people should know you, I don't mean you should sit down with the first person you meet and tell them all your life history. No. In a general conversation, in an ongoing conversation, drop something personal, something that hurt once in history. Drop it and see how they react to it. Now, drop something you would like to do that is futuristic and hear how they respond to it. Now, tell them something that is going on right now that you enjoy. And so, one of the final things I will say to you is that when people know you, they can stand your joy, but they can also stand your grief. So, give them the opportunity to meet both sides. They can stand your excitements and they can stand your professionalism. Don't always be a professional. Sometimes be a child. Sometimes do something silly. It's okay to be silly. I will never forget the first time one of my friends saw me cry as an undergraduate. She started laughing like a fool. Still one of the nicest sounds I've heard till today. She started laughing so much. And I remembered in between my tears, I started laughing too. And I asked her, what is the issue? And she said, you can't cry. You actually can't cry. This was a long time ago, but I still love that memory. That was the season I started to humanize myself. And I've had to draw a lot of boundaries, but I've also been privileged with some of the most fantastic friends on the planet. I hope you're able to connect with someone this week, that you allow yourself to be human. Don't just be a leader. Don't just be powerful. Don't just be in the spotlight. Allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to be connected with. Have a fantastic week. Until next time when I see you. Bye.